Emma Phillips stood at the kitchen window, watching raindrops race down the glass. Her small cottage in Cornwall seemed to echo with the weight of her responsibilities. At 28, life had not been kind to her. The worn wooden floor creaked beneath her feet as she moved, preparing her father's morning medication. Robert Phillips sat in his worn armchair, his once strong builder's hands now trembling slightly as he reached for his tea. Years of hard labor had taken their toll, leaving him partially disabled and dependent on his daughter. Emma's dreams of becoming a lawyer had been put on hold, sacrificed for family survival. Every morning was the same routine. Wake up at 5:30 a.m., prepare breakfast, help her father with his morning medications, ensure he was comfortable, and then rush to her job at the local seaside cafe. The small coastal town of Penzance offered little opportunity, but Emma was determined to make the best of her situation. Her shift at the cafe started early. The small, cozy establishment was a lifeline not just for her income, but for the community. Fishermen, local workers, and tourists would stop by, filling the space with a mix of salty sea air and fresh coffee. Emma's warm smile and efficient service had made her a favorite among the regulars. Between serving customers and washing dishes, Emma would steal moments to study. A worn legal textbook was always tucked in her bag, its pages marked with sticky notes and highlighted passages. Her dream of becoming a lawyer never died, despite the challenges surrounding her. Her father watched her with proud eyes. Despite their financial struggles, he had always believed in her potential. "You're meant for something greater," he would tell her, his voice filled with hope. Those words became her daily motivation. The bills were a constant worry. Her father's medical treatments were expensive, and her waitress salary barely covered their basic needs. Some nights, Emma would sit at the kitchen table, surrounded by medical bills and legal study guides, wondering how she would make ends meet. Her mother had passed away when Emma was just 16, leaving her to become the primary caregiver for her father. While other young women her age were building careers and exploring the world, Emma was committed to her family. She had no regrets, but the weight of responsibility was sometimes overwhelming. The small cottage they lived in was their sanctuary. Inherited from her grandparents, it was modest but filled with memories. Faded photographs lined the walls, telling stories of happier times. Emma's determination to improve their lives was evident in every careful plan she made. At the cafe, she was more than just a waitress. She was a listener, a friend to many. The local fishermen would share stories of their day, and tourists would ask her advice about local attractions. Her intelligence and warmth made her stand out, even in her simple work uniform. Her legal studies were her secret weapon. Every spare moment was dedicated to learning. Online courses, borrowed textbooks from the local library, practice exams, she consumed knowledge like oxygen. The law represented hope, a potential escape from their current financial struggles. The community knew her as the hard-working daughter who cared for her father. In a small town like Penzance, everyone knew everyone, and Emma had earned respect through her dedication and kindness. The local shopkeepers would sometimes slip her extra bread or offer small discounts, recognizing her challenges. Her father's health was unpredictable. Some days, he was full of stories and humor. Other days, he would be quiet, lost in memories of his working years. Emma's love never wavered. She saw beyond his current condition, remembering the strong man who had raised her with love and wisdom. As another rainy Cornwall morning broke, Emma finished preparing breakfast. Her father smiled weakly, reaching out to touch her hand. "You'll do great things," he whispered. Those words were her daily motivation, her beacon of hope in challenging times. Little did Emma know that her life was about to change. Opportunity was waiting just around the corner, ready to transform her struggles into a remarkable journey of determination and resilience. The cafe bustled with morning activity, a typical day in Penzance. Steam from fresh coffee rose in delicate clouds, mixing with the salty sea air. Emma moved between tables, her movements efficient and practiced, balancing plates and cups with a grace that came from years of experience. Michael Harrison sat alone in the corner, a distinguished-looking lawyer in his mid-50s. His briefcase was open, scattered with legal documents, but his attention kept drifting. He watched Emma, intrigued by her interactions with customers. During a quiet moment, he overheard her discussing a complex legal concept with an elderly customer. Her knowledge surprised him. While clearing a nearby table, Emma explained a recent local property dispute with surprising clarity and depth. Her words were simple but precise, revealing an understanding that went far beyond a typical cafe worker's knowledge. Michael had been looking for a new administrative assistant at his small law firm. He'd interviewed several candidates, but none seemed to match the energy and potential he was seeking. Something about Emma caught his attention: her intelligence, her determination, the way she listened carefully and spoke thoughtfully. As Emma approached his table to refill his coffee, Michael decided to speak. "You seem to know quite a bit about local legal matters," he said casually. Emma blushed, realizing she'd been overheard. "Just something I've been studying," she replied, trying to sound casual. Their conversation revealed more. Emma shared her dreams of becoming a lawyer, her current challenges caring for her father, her struggle to balance work and education. Michael listened intently, recognizing a spark of potential that reminded him of his younger self. "Would you be interested in a part-time position at my law firm?" Michael asked suddenly. The question hung in the air, unexpected and transformative. Emma stared, uncertain she had heard correctly. A job at a law firm would be more than just additional income, it could be her first real step towards her dream. The offer came with conditions. The job was part-time, would pay modestly, but would provide her with exposure to legal work. Michael saw it as an opportunity to mentor someone with genuine potential. For Emma, it was a lifeline, a chance to move closer to her aspirations. That evening, she discussed the opportunity with her father. Robert's eyes sparkled with hope. "This could be your moment," he said, squeezing her hand. His belief in her had never wavered, even during their most challenging times. The next week, Emma began her new role. The law firm was small but respected in the community. Michael introduced her as their new administrative assistant, but he saw her as something more: a diamond in the rough, waiting to be polished. Her first tasks were administrative: filing documents, organizing case files, managing correspondence. But Michael was strategic. He would explain legal concepts, leave challenging documents for her to review, encourage her to ask questions. He recognized her hunger for knowledge. Emma's routine transformed. Mornings at the cafe, afternoons at the law firm, evenings studying. Her father's care remained her priority, but now she had a clearer path. The additional income helped with medical bills, and the experience was invaluable. The other lawyers in the firm began to notice her. Her organizational skills were exceptional, her attention to detail remarkable. Michael would often catch her reading legal texts during lunch breaks, her dedication evident in every moment. Her world was expanding. The small coastal town that had once felt like a limitation now seemed full of possibility. Each document she filed, each conversation she overheard, brought her closer to her dream of becoming a lawyer. Michael watched her progress with quiet satisfaction. He had seen many young professionals, but Emma was different. Her motivation wasn't just personal success, but a genuine desire to help others, to make a difference. As weeks passed, the unexpected opportunity began to reshape Emma's entire future. What had started as a simple job offer was becoming a transformative journey, a path from a small cafe to the legal world she had always dreamed about. Her father's words echoed in her mind: "You're destined for something greater." Now, those words felt less like a distant hope and more like an unfolding reality. The winter months brought harsh challenges to Emma's carefully balanced life. Penzance's coastal winds seemed to mirror the difficulties she faced, cutting sharp and relentless against her determination. Her days became a complex dance of responsibilities. Mornings began before sunrise, preparing her father's medications and breakfast. She would help him dress, ensure he was comfortable, and then rush to the cafe for her morning shift. The cafe work remained her financial foundation, providing essential income to supplement her new position at the law firm. Michael Harrison had become more than just her employer. He was slowly transforming into a mentor, recognizing Emma's potential beyond administrative tasks. He began giving her more complex assignments, watching her navigate legal documents with unexpected skill. At the law firm, Emma discovered a world far more intricate than she had imagined. Each case file told a human story, families facing challenges, individuals seeking justice. She absorbed every detail, using her lunch breaks to study legal terminology and case precedents. Her father's health presented the most significant challenge. Medical bills continued to accumulate, and his care required constant attention. Some nights, Emma would study with her father sleeping nearby, medical equipment quietly humming in the background. The local community became her support system. Mrs. Henderson, the bakery owner, would occasionally pack extra sandwiches for Emma, understanding her tight financial situation. The fisherman who frequented the cafe would offer words of encouragement, recognizing her relentless spirit. Her study routine became legendary among her small circle. She would wake at 4 a.m., study for 2 hours before her cafe shift, then continue learning during breaks. Evenings were dedicated to online legal courses, her determination burning bright despite exhaustion. Michael noticed her commitment. He began providing her with additional study materials, recommending specific legal texts that could enhance her understanding. "You have something special," he would tell her, "a genuine passion for justice." The financial strain was constant. Emma's income from the cafe and part-time law firm position was barely enough to cover their expenses. She learned to budget meticulously, cutting every possible expense. Her wardrobe was simple, her meals practical, every penny saved directed towards her father's care and her education. Her legal studies progressed slowly but steadily. Online courses became her lifeline, offering flexibility around her work commitments. She discovered scholarships, applied for educational grants, exploring every possible avenue to support her dream. Her father remained her biggest supporter. Despite his declining health, his spirit never wavered. "You're fighting for both of us," he would say, watching her study late into the night. His belief was her most powerful motivational tool. The law firm became her classroom. Michael would sometimes include her in case discussions, asking her perspectives. Initially hesitant, Emma gradually gained confidence. Her unique background, combining practical life experience with growing legal knowledge, offered fresh insights. Winter storms battered the small Cornish cottage, but inside, Emma's resolve remained unbroken. She represented a generation fighting against economic limitations, proving that determination could overcome seemingly impossible obstacles. Her colleagues at the law firm began to see her differently. What started as a simple administrative position was transforming. Emma was no longer just filing papers, she was understanding legal complexities, offering intelligent observations. Michael watched her transformation with quiet pride. He saw in Emma a reflection of his younger self, someone who understood that law was more than a profession, it was a calling to serve justice. As months passed, Emma's life became a testament to resilience. Each challenge became a learning opportunity, each struggle a step towards her ultimate goal. The small coastal town watched, witnessing a remarkable journey of personal transformation. Her story was just beginning, but her determination had already written its first powerful chapter. Against all odds, Emma Phillips was turning her dreams into a remarkable reality. One challenging day at a time, the letter arrived on a cold Tuesday morning, its official envelope carrying the weight of potential disaster. Emma's hands trembled as she opened the medical billing statement, her worst fears confirmed in black and white. Her father's latest medical treatments had accumulated an impossible debt, £15,000 that seemed to mock every careful plan she had ever made. Robert Phillips lay in the corner bedroom, his breathing labored, unaware of the financial storm brewing. Emma stood by the window, watching rain cascade down the glass, feeling the world closing in around her. The cottage that had been her family's sanctuary now felt like a financial prison. Her savings were decimated. The careful budget she had maintained for years suddenly looked like a fragile house of cards. Medical treatments, medication, specialized care, each element consumed more money than she could possibly earn. Her cafe job and part-time law firm work seemed laughably inadequate against the mountain of expenses. Michael Harrison found her that afternoon, pale and distracted at the law firm. She tried to hide her worry, but her usually precise filing became scattered, her hands shaking slightly as she organized documents. He watched her, sensing something was terribly wrong. I might have to quit, Emma whispered, her voice breaking. I can't continue studying. I need to work full-time to save our home and pay for my father's treatments. The words felt like a surrender, a betrayal of every dream she had nurtured. Her options seemed desperately limited. Full-time work at the cafe would provide immediate income but destroy her chances of becoming a lawyer. Selling the cottage would provide temporary relief but leave them homeless. Each potential solution felt like another form of defeat. The legal world she had begun to love suddenly felt distant. Her carefully constructed path, built through years of sacrifice and determination, was crumbling. Emma felt the weight of generations, her father's hope, her own dreams, her family's survival hanging in a delicate balance. Michael listened carefully as Emma explained her situation. He understood the complexity of her challenge, a daughter's love battling against economic limitations, a dream threatened by harsh financial realities. His office remained silent, filled with the quiet tension of a life-changing moment. Then, unexpectedly, Michael made a proposal that would transform everything. I will cover your father's medical expenses, he said quietly, on one condition, that you complete your legal training and commit to working with our firm for a minimum of 3 years. The offer was more than financial support. It was a lifeline, a bridge between her current struggles and her potential future. Emma stared, unable to comprehend the magnitude of his offer. It was a chance she had never imagined possible. Her father's reaction was one of pure joy. I always told you, Robert whispered, his eyes bright with pride, that you were destined for something extraordinary. His belief had never wavered, even when the world seemed most challenging. The decision wasn't just about her. It was about honoring her father's sacrifices, about proving that dreams could survive against seemingly impossible odds. Emma understood that this moment was more than a personal victory, it was a testament to resilience. The coastal town of Penzance, with its narrow streets and tight-knit community, seemed to hold its breath. They had watched Emma's journey, from cafe worker to aspiring lawyer, from struggling daughter to potential professional. Her story was becoming a beacon of hope. Michael's offer represented more than financial support. It was a belief in human potential, in the power of supporting someone's dream. He saw in Emma not just an employee, but a future legal professional with unique perspectives and unbreakable spirit. As winter light faded outside, casting long shadows across the law firm's office, Emma realized her life was about to change forever. The breaking point had become a turning point, a moment where struggle transformed into opportunity. Her journey was far from over. But for the first time in years, hope felt tangible, real, and wonderfully possible. 3 years passed like a transformative dream. Emma Phillips stood in the courtroom, her tailored black suit a testament to her journey from cafe worker to qualified solicitor. The same determination that once balanced coffee cups now commanded legal arguments with precision and passion. Her first significant case involved defending low-income families facing housing challenges, a mission deeply personal to her own experiences. Each client represented a reflection of her past struggles, each legal argument a battle against systemic inequalities. The courtroom felt different from the small Cornish cafe where her journey began. Here, her words carried weight, her arguments could change lives. Michael Harrison sat in the back, watching his protégé with quiet pride. The young woman who had once filed his documents now stood as a respected legal professional. Her father, Robert, watched from the audience. Age and illness had weakened his body, but his eyes burned with an unbreakable spirit. He had been her first and most constant supporter, believing in her potential when the world seemed uncertain. The case involved the Williams family, a working-class couple facing eviction. Emma's arguments were not just legal strategies but heartfelt narratives of human struggle. She spoke about dignity, about the fundamental right to housing, drawing from her own life's challenges. When the judge announced the verdict in their favor, the courtroom erupted in quiet celebration. The Williams family embraced, tears mixing with relief. Emma understood their emotions intimately, she knew what hope looked like in its most fragile, powerful moments. Her colleagues at the law firm watched with respect. Emma was no longer the part-time administrative assistant but a solicitor who brought unique perspectives to legal work. Her background wasn't a limitation but a strength, providing insights that traditional legal education sometimes missed. The local Penzance communities celebrated her achievement. The cafe workers, fishermen, and local shopkeepers who had known her during her struggling years now spoke of her with immense pride. She had become a symbol of perseverance, a living example that dreams could survive against overwhelming odds. Michael Harrison's mentorship had been transformative. He had seen potential where others might have seen only limitations. His support had been more than financial, it was a belief in human potential, in the power of giving someone a genuine opportunity. Emma's first thought after winning the case was her father. She rushed to the hospital, where Robert waited. His health was fragile, but his spirit remained unbroken. "I always knew," he whispered, squeezing her hand, "that you were destined for something greater." Her journey represented more than personal achievement. It was a narrative about resilience, about fighting systemic barriers, about transforming personal challenges into professional excellence. Each legal document, each courtroom argument was a chapter in a larger story of hope. The small cottage in Cornwall remained her anchor. Though her life had transformed dramatically, she never forgot her roots. The worn furniture, the family photographs, the memories of struggle and survival, they remained integral to her identity. Her colleagues began requesting her for complex cases involving social justice. Emma's unique background, combining practical life experience with legal expertise, made her exceptional. She understood law not just as a profession, but as a tool for meaningful change. The legal community started recognizing her potential. Speaking engagements, mentorship programs, community workshops, Emma became more than a solicitor. She became an inspiration, proving that background and economic limitations need not define one's potential. As evening descended on Penzance, Emma reflected on her journey. From serving coffee to defending legal rights, from struggling to support her father to becoming a respected solicitor, her story was a testament to human potential. Her message was simple yet powerful: dreams don't have an economic prerequisite. Determination, support, and unwavering belief can transform seemingly impossible circumstances into extraordinary achievements. The coastal town that had witnessed her struggles now celebrated her triumph. Emma Phillips had become more than a successful lawyer, she was a living symbol of hope, resilience, and the extraordinary power of human spirit. Her father's words echoed in her heart: "You're destined for something greater." And now, standing in her truth, she had proven those words spectacularly true.